Hello, I'm Marcus Alton, the editor of the tribute website brianclough.com, and one of my guests on the next Green Jumper is a man who became a close friend of Brian Clough. Colin Shields was one of the few people besides the players who was allowed on the Forest team coach. I've known Colin for quite a few years, and I'm pleased to say he shares some wonderful memories of the times he spent with Brian, including some occasions away from the spotlight. It's a two-part interview, and in the first instalment, Colin tells the story of travelling to Liverpool with a young Roy Keane, who was unaware he was about to make his first team debut at Anfield.
We used to drive Brian to the away games. On this particular occasion, we drove up to Brian's, Michael and myself, and Brian said, "There's a change of plan today." He says, "I want you to do me a favour." He says, so hang on a bit. Anyway, Ron Fenton came up with one of the Forest coaches and then presented Roy Keane. And Ron said, we're taking Roy up to the team hotel at Liv in Cheshire. So Brian must have gone by other means. So Roy sat in the car with Michael and myself, and I think Ron sat in the back with him as well. And off we went up to Lim. And at one point we managed to talk to Ron on his own, and Ron says to me, "Don't say anything to him, but he's playing today." Anyway, we got to the hotel and met up with the team, and he was just a young kid, you know, and quite an impressive player. I'd seen him play in the reserves a few times, and I could see that he was a bit special. Anyway, he made his debut that day at Liverpool and did quite well. And of course he travelled back on the team coach, and Brian got in the car with us, and we took Brian back to Quarndon. And Brian says, "I want to thank you both very much. That was a brilliant job you did for me." And I have spoke to Roy about it since in the guest room at Forest.
Colin also recalls how Brian asked him to look after the legendary Liverpool manager Bill Shankly during one match, and how injured players were encouraged to have a paddle in the North Sea.
On occasions we'd get near the sea, and he'd have all of them paddling in the sea in case they got injuries and slight knocks and everything, and seawater did you good. So in the wind, whether it was cold or whatever, I know up in the northeast it was very cold, and we'd stay up there, and he'd have them paddling in the sea at 10 o'clock in the morning.
You'll also hear how Brian enjoyed playing snooker and dominoes at a British Legion club. How competitive was he with the dominoes?
Oh dear. If you played the wrong domino, he'd say, Joe would have you thrown out the club for that. But Joe was his oldest brother.
Yes.
And a superb domino player. And Brian was a good player. And to be fair, I wasn't too bad. I had some good teachers. And we used to play fives and threes. And not only did we play in the Legion, when we was on holiday in Calamaw, there was 3 or 4 of us used to sit in the evenings on playing dominoes. And people walking by and recognising Brian and monitoring things and being amazed that he'd sit there having a game of dominoes with his mates.
Yeah.
That was great.
The next Green Jumper will also feature a digital artist who's recreated some iconic Cloughie images. Matt Wilkinson runs the website Rogues Gallery.
Forrest got in touch with me because I'd done these silhouettes of some of the miracle men. It was obviously the main ones like the Martin O'Neills and the Cloughies and so forth.
Yeah.
And they were revamping the Brian Clough stand that year, and they wanted to do all 40, I think it was. So they had Archie Gemmels, Terry Currans, right down to Jim Montgomery and so forth. So I had to fill in all the gaps. I did the artwork with quotes and appearance information, which was one of those things which is a huge honour to do.
Which of the sort of iconic images do you like the most?
I personally like the first one we did, which was it's the classic kind of smiling Clough. Probably 1977, the smiling Clough.
Yes.
whilst he was just a young upstart kind of thing.
All that and more on the next Green Jumper. And in the meantime, don't forget to visit the tribute website brianclough.com for more Clough stories and the chance to buy souvenirs and signed books helping good causes. And that includes Colin Shields' book, Champagne Memories.
We did have some really, really good fun. And getting to know Brian as a man, as a man, a father, a husband, as a family man, it was special.
I hope you can join me next time when we'll share more memories of the great man in the green jumper.